Scientists found the largest male specimen of the most venomous spider in the world in Australia. This is the funnel web spider, and the size of it is disgusting, but the thing that freaks me out about it is the strength of the damn thing. We're talking fangs so sharp they can apparently crack through a fingernail. A fingernail?
Oh.
What? And nothing prepared me to actually see a close-up of the fangs. Maybe this is a woolly mammoth.
What's up, YouTube? Welcome back to my channel. How you guys doing? Hopefully you guys are doing alright, man. If you guys are brand new to my channel, you guys don't know what we do. We break down scary and creepy videos, man, on the net, on the web, from YouTube videos to TikTok videos, IG videos, Facebook, anything weird, usual, and unexplained you can find right here on this channel. Just want to thank my supporters, man, who's tapping into the channel, subscribing, hitting that post notification bell, man, hitting that like button on each and every single video I drop. I really appreciate the support, man. Like I said, trying to get into this algorithm, man, and if you guys do those 3 simple steps, man, we can get in there. Found this video for you guys today. Let's do what we do best, man. Let's seek the truth.
That'll keep me up. The Abigail Project is definitely one of those. It's one of the most disturbing experiments I've ever read about. Sometime in July of 2003, there was a government document that was declassified that talked about an experiment that took place back in 1945, post-war. It was led by Dr. Albert Weston and a team, and their task was to create a biological weapon out of a human. And for some reason, he decided the subject of this experiment was going to be his daughter, Abigail. It was a series of months where she was fed growth hormones, they gave her classified substances, and she had her entire body surgically modified. But the experiment was a failure. She had completely lost touch with who she was no longer cognizant of what was going on, and most of her instincts had reverted into primal instincts. Considering what the doctor had done to his daughter, he would take his life after 2 years into the experiment, and according to these documents, the experiment, meaning her, was lost. Nobody really knows what happened to her.
Never say this out loud, or you will die. There's a cursed Japanese poem called Tornado's Hell. And supposedly, if you read it out loud, you will die or be cursed for life. Now, you can read it in your head. This is where things get crazy. A man named Suji Teriyama decided to make and direct a movie based on the poem. Exactly 1 week after the release of the movie, he suddenly dropped dead. By the way, y'all, I asked y'all to name our new baby, and the highest voted name was Steve. So I guess when this guy hatches, his name will be Steve.
Since we got this baby together, you do owe me child support.
Now this other story is also crazy. There was a schoolgirl that was dared to say the poem out loud. Look, you got friends daring you to do stuff like that. You need to get rid of them. Literally 1 week after doing the dare, she suddenly dropped dead.
Woo, look at that, baby. Look at that. Sheesh.
I flashed the poem somewhere in this video, but I'm telling you, if you find it, don't read it out loud. Or I'm gonna come to your funeral and tell everybody you're stupid. You're stupid.
Okay. Stay away from that poem, Seekers.
This is a scary story about It Won't Hurt, and it's absolutely shocking.
Alright.
There was a bus driving late at night, and it was completely packed full of people. Suddenly, an old woman on the bus became ill, and she asked the bus driver to stop the bus. They were on a country road surrounded by a forest, so the driver told her to wait. But the old woman began to throw a fit, screaming and yelling at the bus driver, demanding him to stop the bus. The bus driver then pulled over to the side of the road, and the old woman got out and ran into the woods. When the old woman came back from the woods, she was holding a little girl's hand who was crying. When they got back on the bus, everybody asked the little girl what was wrong. She said her mother brought her into the woods and placed her on a tree, then tied a rope around her neck and said, "Whenever you get bored, just jump. Don't worry, it won't hurt."
What?
The old woman said she didn't know why, but she felt something was wrong in the woods. And when she got in the woods, she caught the girl while she was jumping. The bus driver then began to drive again, and he suddenly saw a young woman standing on the road. He then stopped the bus. When the young woman got on the bus, the little girl stood up and said, "Mommy, you promised it wouldn't hurt."
Oh, hell no. It's like they saved it from her mom, man. What the hell? Creepy story. With the world today, man.
On May 29th of this year, Natalie Reynolds went live on Kick, and shortly after it started, she is seen trying to convince a woman to jump into the lake. The woman then claims that she cannot swim but only float. Natalie then says,
"I'll give you 20 bucks. $20? Yeah, that's a.
The woman then jumps into the water, followed by the staff running down the dock, and Natalie acts as if she wasn't just trying to convince the woman to jump in the water. Instead of helping the woman that she knows cannot swim, her and her friends leave the scene and are making jokes about the fact that Natalie thought she was just drunk and not mentally ill.
I can't swim. I can only float.
She might literally die.
No, stop. Seriously, don't stop. Please, you're actually freaking me out. No. She said she's drowning. She said she's drowning.
I think you literally just heard.
No, I didn't.
Nah, this is bad.
What the hell?
Since then, Natalie has received a lot of hate, and several people are claiming she should be charged with attempted murder. What are your thoughts? Let me just...
That's crazy, man. You know, kick streaming, bro. Those kick streamers, I've been hearing a lot about them. How they just be doing like degenerate stuff on the internet. They be doing anything and everything for clout views. That goes to show you, man, how far a person would do just to get some attention. That's actually insane.
Ask you, can you tell that there is something wrong with the picture that I'm going to show you? This one is really interesting. So the information I could find on the photo is that we think it was taken by a realtor. He had gone alone to basically inspect a home that was foreclosed on that he was about to put on the market. What's odd about this photo is that if you look at it really closely, you're like, the photo is kind of blurred, like it was taken in motion, because in the background there is something very wrong. Quickly before we get into it, thank you so much for all of the support for my podcast, Creep Time the Podcast. You don't even know how to process being top 10 in the country. That is incredible. If you have not listened, go click the link in my bio. Seen in the background of that photo, it was very clear that he was not alone in that basement. Although he claimed he didn't see anything, he just got a strange feeling, so he kind of took the photo and then rushed out of the room. But this person was confirmed to not be the homeowner. So who was hiding out in that basement?
Who was that? He didn't even see him there?
This is the disturbing cryptid iceberg with actual evidence behind it. Would have posted this video sooner, but it was my birthday 2 days ago and I was out of town, so I'll make sure I give you guys some good ones to make up for me being gone. Okay, so this picture represents cryptids from the least disturbing to the most, and we've already covered this one, so we're gonna go on to tier 3.
Okay.
This is the Dave Shealy's 2000 skunk ape footage, and what you're seeing is in the Florida Everglades, and you can see this skunk ape just moving. I mean, look how quick it is walking. A lot of people believe that this footage is real just because if you've ever been to the Florida Everglades, there's no way somebody can move that fast. Next one is the ivory-billed woodpecker video, and this was an animal that was supposed to be extinct I don't know how many hundreds of years ago, and this one is actually confirmed. It's going to be a little tough to see, but you'll see over here this little bird flying like this. I don't know, it's pretty cool to me. This is the Pennsylvania white Bigfoot video, and what you're looking at is supposed to be a Sasquatch. I don't know, it doesn't really look like Bigfoot to me. Interesting about this video is when they posted this video, they put a white Sasquatch. Was a really big claim, but what they didn't know is in 1973, 2 girls reported seeing the exact same white Sasquatch in basically the same spot. If you guys want to see tier 4, make sure to like and follow for more videos, and I will see you guys later. Peace out.
Blood-curdling facts that you wish you never knew. If your plane is crashing into the water, just know that flight attendants are trained to not allow any dead bodies on life rafts. That means no saving grandma for her funeral, simply yeet that bitch overboard.
What?
1 out of every 50 women have a third nipple, and 1 out of every 100 men do too. This is known as a supernumerary nipple, and Mark Wahlberg actually has one. Harry Styles has 2. Your baby foreskin can be used as replacement skin for burn victims. That means one can quite literally be a dick face. There are corn stars born in the year 2003. That's the same year The Cat in the Hat came out. Male fetuses get boners in the womb, and these can often be seen on ultrasounds. Motherfucker. After 49 people were killed at the Pulse nightclub shooting in Orlando, cops were investigating the scene, and you'd think it'd be pretty quiet in there. But it was actually filled with sounds of ringing cell phones. Friends, family members, loved ones, calling the people that they knew were at Pulse and hoping they'd answer the phone and say they were okay.
Crazy. I didn't know in males and the fetus they get boners when and the fetus. What the hell? That young? I didn't even know that was humanly possible. What the more you know. Tap in, you're gonna learn with us.
Mr. Sandman, bring me a dream. Make him the cutest.
On May 26, 2020, Clint Brower went to a laundromat to do some laundry when he noticed a man acting suspicious. That man was Micah Harrington. According to reports, Clint believed Micah had intentions to hurt people, so Clint pulled out a knife and
him over 30 times. And to be clear, Micah never acted out in violence. He then tied a rope around Micah, dragged him into the parking lot, having hopes that someone would, quote, put him back together. If that doesn't make sense to you, it also doesn't make sense to me. When police arrived, Clint was arrested and Micah was pronounced deceased. The mugshot in itself is eerie to know that he was smiling just after taking an innocent man's life. And as of Monday, June 3rd, 2024, Clint has been sentenced to life in prison. What are your thoughts?
Saw the report.
Damn.
Scientists found the largest male specimen of the most venomous spider in the world in Australia. This is the funnel web spider, and the size of it is disgusting, but the thing that freaks me out about it is the strength of the damn thing. We're talking fangs so sharp they can apparently crack through a fingernail. A fingernail?
Oh.
What? And nothing prepared me to actually see a close-up of the fangs. Maybe this is a woolly mammoth.
Creepy facts that you shouldn't read. Your mind gets sense when someone is staring at you even when you're asleep, which explains why you randomly wake up during the night. Spirits are more active at night and mostly exist in air-conditioned rooms. They look and stare at you at night. They read your mind and try to speak and show your future dreams. Follow if you're scared.
Has that happened to any of you guys, Seekers? Especially about, like, you know, waking up at night?
Breaking news, they've officially released Riley Strain's toxicology results. This information was released today by the Tennessee's chief medical examiner. The report shows that Riley Strain's blood alcohol level was more than twice the legal limit. His blood alcohol level was 0.228, and he also had Delta-9 in his system. Delta-9 is a classic form of THC. This would be the THC you heard about in health class growing up. The effects of Delta-9 are typically increased appetite, elation, relaxation, talkativeness, and laughter. The report still classifies Riley Strain's passing as accidental, and there were no signs of significant trauma. His exact COD is listed as, quote, drowning in ethanol intoxication. Riley Strain's family is doing their own investigation into his passing to see if he was overserved or if any foul play took place. To stay up to date on this case, make sure you click the playlist below. I'll keep you guys updated. What do you think? Drop in the comments.
Did you know that the Crypt
what do you
Keeper
think?
from Tales of the Crypt actually has Chucky's eyes? The dolls were made by the same person, and when HBO started running out of money to make the show, they needed him to just start using parts he had lying around, so the doll's actually made with a lot of the animatronics that Chucky used and his eyes. Now you know.
The murder of McKinley Chick-fil-A Marie has to be my favorite case of all time. Like, I actually get butterflies in my stomach every time I revisit this case. I'm just so fascinated by the killer. He was so dedicated. He was gorgeous. Super, super dreamy. Like, if he wasn't behind bars, I would probably be with him. And just how dedicated he was to chopping her into bits and pieces. I mean, he really had no remorse, and we almost have to appreciate that. Like, the fact that he carried this chainsaw around for miles and miles, and after chopping her up, it just wasn't enough that he decided to also set on fire. I'm like, there's something hot about that. Siri, play This Girl Is on Fire. We can make jokes now, guys. It's been a long time. The best part about this is that this killer had no remorse. During the court hearing, he actually sat and looked her family members dead in the eyes. Dead, get it, guys? And he actually just laughed the entire time. And you know what? I can appreciate a man who doubles down. Also, disclaimer before people get their panties in a twist, I'm being super, super respectful of the family. I'm only sharing things that I've seen already on the internet, so I'm not making things up. These are just facts, and I just wanted to share that with you guys.
That was a POV they said of how, you know, some, I guess, how they be acting when they explaining these videos. You know, some of them, yeah, they have to, actually all of them need to have respect to the families on what they reporting on, because it's really affecting people. Words have power. Remember that. Edit. You know how to spot them out.
So check this out. A YouTuber just found the devil in Alaska. What? The footage at the end is the scariest thing I've ever seen, fam. It's crazy. It's crazy. Luke Nichols, a popular YouTuber from the United States, has just encountered Satan himself in the mountains of Alaska. This is the reason nobody wants to visit Alaska, bro. This is terrifying. So Luke, known for his love for the outdoors, a veteran for outdoor extreme camping and survival, getting the nickname Luke the Nuke Nichols. He had been exploring the Alaskan mountains nearby the Noam territory. The fierce weather conditions made his trip more difficult. He was out on his snowmobile on his way to catch some fish with his son when suddenly they came across a random hole in the ground. They were terrified. They immediately turned back but heard a voice calling out. He turned around, and within the darkness of the night he saw horns, then flames, and realized he was staring into the eyes of the devil. He took out his phone to video it. To see the video, comment Mr. Nightmare, and we will send it via DM.
Oh. Is that fact a cat?
Has anybody ever heard of the Silent Man ritual? It's a ritual that you should never do. Who is a Silent Man, you may ask? The Silent Man is a demon that was casted down from heaven, a demon that hates noise. Many people say if you play this game and win, you'll gain never-ending good luck and fortune. However, many people who played and lost say that they've got everything in their lives, everything good, taken away from them. But not only that, but a lot of people who play the Silent Man ritual have reported that they've actually lost their voice over time after playing this game. If you look at it, it makes a lot of sense. The Silent Man hates noise. They say to call upon the Silent Man. First step is to turn off all the electronics in your house. The second step is to light a candle and go to a window. Supposed to whisper quietly at the window. Silent Man, I invite you in. Say around 25 times. Now you have to understand, to win this game, that you have to stay quiet. You'll see a man outside your window. The more noise you make in your house, the closer this man will get to your house, until he's inside your house. This is why I recommend nobody to play this game. Do you guys think I should play this game on live stream? Then heart this video and follow my account. Let me know in the comments.
Y'all, this picture...
I never play those freaking games, those ritual games. That's just like bad energy, bad juju all around. I completely stay away from those, man. I don't see how people can even risk that. That ain't me.
It makes me so sad but so happy at the same time. But this is an updated photo of the Menendez Brothers. If y'all are not familiar with the Menendez Brothers case, it is an old case. I really feel like they should not be in prison for what they did. But they unalived their parents and they got charged with it. And after going to court and talking about basically that they were SA'd over the course of their childhood, and the reason why they did this is because it got really bad and they felt like they had no other way out. They were still convicted of it and charged with, I believe, life in prison. But there have been a lot of petitions to get them out of prison and get, you know, a retrial or consideration to let them out or give them lesser time or something, because these men have been in prison like so long. And look at them, y'all. They look so good. Like, this makes me so, I don't know why this picture makes me so happy.
What do you guys think about that case? Like I said, a lot of people's calling for their release. And they got out. I want to see you guys' thoughts down below on that one. They fled. Tax money. The root of all evil. Maybe that's how they was able to afford that house and that car. Tax fraud. They just got up and vanished like ghosts and they couldn't catch you? The whole mansion. They just had to pack up and disappear. So they got away with it. They didn't even get caught. Come on, man. You gotta be on top of things like that. So people can't get away with that, man. Lived in that big ass mansion, had all those cars.
At 3:15 a.m. Okay. You might be cursed. Like, why though? Legit. So I don't know if you ever heard about the Amity House. No. This is a real haunted house. I believe in the States somewhere. So they claim this house to be one of those houses that is truly attached to demons. Now, the story goes that there was this man. They said a voice came to his head and told him to murder his 3 family members, his 2 daughters and his wife. Now what's weird...
Why would somebody even get a property like that if it's that connected? That type of energy and spirits. That runs through my mind every single time I hear like people get into houses like that. Like, would you guys even want to stay there? Put your family around that type of energy too? Nah. Not me.
I ended up moving in there. Now this family, they were haunted for years.
Yeah, probably.
The 16-year-old girls that brutally unalived their best friend because they didn't like her anymore. Skyler Neese may have been an only child, but she had a sister-like bond with her best friend Sheila. The girls were like two peas in a pod and did everything together. Their freshman year of high school, they added a third best friend, Rachel, making them an inseparable trio. Like most friend groups in high school, there was some jealousy, like if two of the friends hung out and did invite the third, you know, stuff like that. And that's how Skyler was feeling going into their sophomore year of high school. Like Sheila and Rachel were getting closer and kind of kicking Skyler out. Then in the middle of the night on July 6, 2012, Skyler snuck out of her house and never came home. Skyler was missing. Her parents are panicked. Her best friends Sheila and Rachel are acting concerned as well. Sheila would spend a lot of time with Skyler's parents, supporting them, crying with them, asking for updates, and asking if there was anything she could do to help. And the longer that Skyler was missing, the more that rumors started to spread. From things like Skyler ran off with a boyfriend, to Skyler fled after robbing a bank, to Skyler's best friends Sheila and Rachel were involved. At this point, the investigators were actually pretty convinced that Sheila and Rachel knew more than they were letting on. Both of the girls' stories were like nearly identical, like they had been rehearsed. At this point, the police's theory was that the three girls snuck out the house to maybe use substances and something accidentally happened to Skyler, and Sheila and Rachel were just covering it up because they were scared of getting in trouble. They could have never prepared for what actually happened. Following Skyler's disappearance, Sheila was like pretty carefree, but Rachel, on the other hand, was having a nervous breakdown and had to be admitted to a psychiatric facility. And upon release, Rachel confessed that her and Sheila had stabbed Skyler 50 times and had planned the attack for months. And even more shocking was their motive, that they didn't like her anymore and didn't want to be friends with her. To this day, Sheila has never shown any remorse to what she did to her best friend and is seen as the evil ringleader and was sentenced to life in prison. Due to Rachel's confession, she was sentenced to 30 years in prison. She was up for parole very recently, but it was denied. But I'm really curious to hear what you guys think. Do you really think that two 16-year-old girls would brutally unalive their best friend just because they didn't want to be friends with her anymore? I feel like there has to be more to this story.
Maybe not. I'm just like, they just couldn't just split amicably. Like, if you don't want to be friends with somebody no more, you could just say that. It didn't have to take that dark of a turn. This word nowadays, you can't even be. You gotta be, like I said, choose your friends wisely, because if they don't like it no more, they could just try to end it off with you. It's just like, man, it really makes you think, bro. Put things in perspective. Seekers, if you guys stay with me to the end of the video, you're true seekers seeking the truth. I greatly appreciate the support, man. Like I said, guys, make sure you guys like, subscribe, hit that post notification bell, hit that like button, man, so we can officially get into this algorithm, man. Like I said, I know we can grow the seekers into something special. I just need you guys' help, man. Just you guys' support so we can get into this algorithm. We can just take off. But like I said, we're doing these daily uploads. Hopefully you guys enjoying, man. Trying to get these out for you at least once a day. I've been on the streak, I think, for this past like 2 months, so I want to see some copy emojis down below, man. I've been on the road. You guys gonna catch in the next one. I'm out. Peace, YouTube. What's up, YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. How you guys doing? Hopefully you guys are doing all right, man. If you guys are brand new to the channel, you guys don't know what we do. We break down scary and creepy videos on the net, on the web, man. From YouTube videos to TikTok videos, IG reels, Facebook, man. Anything weird, usual, and unexplained you can find right here on this channel. Just want to thank my supporters, man, who's tapping in with the channel, subscribing, hitting that post notification bell, hitting that like button, man. You're helping us push us in the algorithm, man, so we can reach other peoples, man. We can reach other seekers who's seeking this type of content. So I greatly appreciate the support. Found this video for you guys today. Let's do what we do best. Let's seek the truth.
This is why you should always
change your locks. In 2017, a college girl woke up from a nightmare drenched in sweat and decided to rinse off before going back to sleep. She propped her phone on a shelf, turned on some music, and then hopped in the shower. A few minutes later, she reaches for her phone to change the song, but stops suddenly. Reflected on her phone's screen was a person standing in the middle of her bathroom facing the shower. She somehow kept her composure, turned the water to scalding hot, and then ripped open the curtain and sprayed the intruder in the face. As they howled in pain, she ran past them to her kitchen to get her butcher's knife. In a panic, she can't find her knife, so she just runs out of the apartment and calls the police. The police go in and come out with a crazy-looking woman in handcuffs. One of the officers comes over to the girl and says she used to live here and she had copies of your keys. Then he pauses and looks down and brings up a clear evidence bag that contained her butcher's knife, and he says, "Looks like she wanted her apartment back."
There's something terrible.
What? So she wanted her apartment back, and because she had a copy of the key, she just went in there unannounced. Can somebody even do something like that, Seekers? Is that even legal? I don't think so, right? People are crazy in this world now. That's insane.
Terrifying going on at Chuck E. Cheese right now, and I'm going to explain it to you. So we all know about the game Five Nights at Freddy's, right? It's a game based around a restaurant that's pretty much like a Chuck E. Cheese where the animatronics come to life and wreak havoc on all the guests there. But what if I told you this was possibly happening in real life right now?
No way.
Just 2 days ago, 5 children have gone missing inside of a Chuck E. Cheese, and the parents reported a weird smell from the inside of the building. And then just like Five Nights at Freddy's, someone that worked the late night shift actually got killed after hours. Now these are all pretty weird, but here's the kicker right here. Check out this headline. Night shift workers from Chuck E. Cheese claim strange movement from animatronics post hours. So I don't know, what do you think about this? Do you think it's real? Do you think it's fake? And I mean, with 2020 and everything going on, like, I wouldn't be shocked if it was real.
Blood-curdling facts that you wish you never knew. Part 1. When creating the Pirates of the Caribbean ride at Disneyland, they couldn't create skeletons that looked realistic enough, so they used real human skeletons. Since then, they've removed all but one. Ducks sometimes become cannibals due to boredom, meaning they kill and eat each other. This behavior begins as early as 4 weeks old. Crocodiles are capable of galloping, similar to a horse. Luckily, alligators cannot. And while we're at it, tarantulas can swim. It's extremely common after you die that there will be extreme gas buildup and you will burp after death. And sometimes dead bodies can even sit up on their own. Also, if a pregnant woman dies, the gas buildup in her body can actually forcefully push a baby out. In other words, a post-mortem baby bazooka. Hearing is the last bodily function to go after one dies. So it's very possible that the last thing you ever hear is the paramedic calling off your CPR.
This is why you shouldn't...
Those are some crazy facts we learn, Seekers, man. That's where you gotta tap in with us, man. I never in a million years would ever guess, man, that tarantulas can swim and he can... he said the alligators, they were galloping? What the hell? This is when they got an upgrade like that, man. I'm telling you, man, you tap in with us, Seekers, you gonna learn some new information, man, daily.
Never stay in sketchy motels. In 2005, a young woman on a solo road trip across the country decided to stop for the night. The first place she sees is the Mountaintop Motel. It looked pretty cheap, but she was tired, so she said good enough. The check-in guy eyed her up and down very uncomfortably and then asked her if she was traveling alone. She ignores the question, pays for her room, and then walks away with the key. When she gets inside her room and sees there are literally cockroaches in her bed, she says nope and decides to sleep in her car in the parking lot. Around 3 a.m., she wakes up to see the check-in guy using his own keys to get into the motel room she was supposed to be in. A few minutes later, he storms out and slams the door and starts walking towards her car. Terrified, she hides under her blanket as the man tries to open her car doors but can't and walks away. She speeds off and calls her friend and asks her to look up the address of Mountaintop Motel so she can give it to police. Her friend's quiet for a second and then just says, "The Mountaintop Motel closed a week ago. If someone offers you this, walk away." In 2016, a man was staying at his friend's cabin in the woods when he decided to go for an evening stroll. A little ways down the trail, he hears someone call out from behind his neighbor's house. He looks up and he sees this skinny guy pop out from behind the building who starts waving frantically at him to come over. Worried this guy could be in trouble, the man takes off running to assist. But when he gets close enough, the neighbor just offers him a fistful of Slim Jims and starts talking about how much he hates his wife. Sensing there was something wrong with this guy, he says no thank you to the Slim Jims and walks away. The next day, the man calls his friend who owned the cabin to ask him what the deal was with his weirdo neighbor. There was silence on the phone, and then his friend just says, I don't have any neighbors. The police are called, and it turns out his neighbor was really some lunatic who had recently killed his wife and had been hiding out in the abandoned cabin next door. This is why...
That's why, man, my parents always say, don't talk to strangers. Like, he could have been the next. He could have been next, man. He didn't even know. He just offered him some Slim Jim, talking about how he didn't like his wife. Like, the signs were there, man. You gotta pay attention to what people say nowadays, man, because every time somebody says something, bro, and if it sounds weird, especially talking about how he hated his wife and just offered him Slim Jims, that's bizarre enough already. And you in the woods at that. He's a brave soul. I don't know how he did it. If I was in the woods, you see somebody you don't know, deuces, I'm out. You ain't getting me.
You always say yes to tandoori chicken. In 2012, a high school tutor and her student stayed up so late one night studying that by the time they were done, the buses had stopped running. Without another way home, the student asked if he could stay the night at her place. Reluctantly, she agreed. When they got back to the apartment, she fell asleep on her bed and he fell asleep on a blanket next to her bed on the ground. A few hours later, she wakes up to the boy standing awkwardly in the middle of the room with a very strange look on his face. What? She asks him, what's wrong? He looks at her and says, I'm really hungry, let's go get some tandoori chicken. Confused, she says, it's 2 a.m., just get a snack in the cupboard. And he grabs her by the arm and he says, no, we are getting tandoori chicken right now. And he yanks her from the bed. Feeling totally caught off guard by this whole situation, she goes into the hall with the boy, and as soon as the door shuts behind them, she can tell that he is terrified. He looks at her and just says, I'm not actually hungry. When I woke up, there was someone under your bed. This is why you should always trust your gut. In the early 1970s, a college student decided to hitchhike his way home after class. A car pulls up, a man offers him a ride, and he climbs in. As soon as the car started moving, the student felt totally uneasy, like something was wrong but he couldn't quite place it. Without saying anything, he waited till the next time they slowed down and he flung the door open and ran away. 2 years later, he's flicking through TV channels when he comes across this special interview with a death row inmate. And it's just the audio recording, so he hears the interviewer ask the inmate, why did you remove all the door handles inside of your car? The man just goes, well, the first time I tried to kill someone, I picked up a college hitchhiker who got smart at some point and jumped out of my car. So, lesson learned, remove all the door handles. When they showed his
he knew.
Picture, the student knew immediately that he was supposed to be the first victim of John Wayne Gacy, aka the killer clown, who had killed over 30 men and boys in his clown room and stuffed them into his basement. This is why you should always trust...
Sorry for pausing 2 times there, man, but I just had to explain this one, bro. That's why people say, man, when you have to trust your gut sometimes, because, bro, your gut, it'll never steer you wrong, man. He had a feeling that something was off, man. As soon as he stopped, he jumped out the damn car. And look what happened. Flicking through the channels. And what came to pass? He was right on the money, man. You gotta trust your gut sometimes, bro. You just have to. Even if everybody's saying, "Oh no, bro." If there's a gut feeling, man, and you don't trust it, then just get away from that situation. That's actually one of the most insane stories you heard, Seekers.
Trust your gut.
Tap in with
us.
In
the 1970s, a young couple decided to go for a late night hike in the woods. A couple minutes into their walk, and the man remembers thinking, something's not right. He tells his girlfriend, but they just decide to ignore it and keep going, until he steps on something that felt really soft, like it was alive. Before he has a chance to see what he stepped on, they hear all this rustling in the bushes next to them, and they bolt. Years later, that couple turns on the TV, and a death row inmate who's about to be executed is being interviewed.
Again.
And they ask him, was there ever a time that you were almost caught red-handed? He responded, yes, one time. I was in the woods, and a couple walked through, and the man actually stepped on the body of a girl I had just killed. I was hiding in the bushes just a few feet away. They didn't see me. That couple had run into one of the worst serial killers of all time, Ted Bundy.
Ted Bundy.
So supposedly this is what the fallen angel Lucifer looks like. And this is what the moon looked like on March 31st, 2020. I don't know about any of you guys, but this is scary, especially with everything going on in the world right now. Pretty cool.
Let this be a reminder that there really are monsters out there. In 2007, a woman living right near a prison in California got home late one night and went right to bed. Around midnight, she woke up to footsteps on her first floor, assumed it was her roommate, so she goes downstairs to say hi. She yells out to her roommate, who doesn't say anything, and then in walks this giant man who she doesn't recognize. She runs upstairs, jumps in her closet into the crawl space and hides. As she's helplessly tucked away in this little crawl space, trying not to make any sound, all she hears is this giant man sprinting around her house, running into walls, flipping furniture, and screaming in frustration because he can't find her. Finally, after several hours, she slowly opens the crawl space back up, crawls out, and gets her phone off the nightstand and calls police. As she's telling the police her story, she describes the person who had broken in, and they stop her and say, "Ma'am, go back in the crawl space and stay there. We'll be there as soon as we can." It turned out a 6'11" convicted murderer had escaped the prison and was still on the loose.
Damn. She was living next to prison. I could never do that. I don't see how people can do that. I understand people need houses and stuff, but living next to a prison, that's just like asking for trouble. Because like I said, they have like direct access to the house, and as soon as they escape, they just gonna try to go into one of the people's houses. Word of advice, man, don't live next to a prison. I'm pretty sure I don't have to say that, but you never know. Is that an edit? Yeah, that's an edit. Call it like I see it.
If you scare easily, I wouldn't watch this video. In 2013, a mine explorer found this entrance to an abandoned mine and decided to go have a look around. He decides to film his experience and upload it to his YouTube channel, where he had uploaded hundreds of other videos of him exploring mines, but he never once references the paranormal or ghosts or anything like that until this video. As soon as he steps foot inside, he tells the camera that he has a really uneasy feeling about being there and wonders if he should even keep going, but he does. Everything seems pretty normal until he gets to a section in the mine where there's a bunch of chains hanging down from the ceiling. He hears something in the back of the tunnel, so he pulls his flashlight out and he shines it towards the back, and he sees a chain swinging, and it shouldn't be, because there's no draft and he's all alone, and you can tell he's scared by the way he starts talking. Although he's totally freaked out, he wants to know what's causing the chain to swing, so he goes farther and farther into the mine until he hears something. People whispering in every direction. He gets totally spooked and runs out. If you don't want to sleep tonight, watch the whole video. This is why you should never open your door for strangers. In 2013, a woman let her dog out to use the bathroom one more time before bed. After only a few minutes, she starts hearing scratching on her door, which is typically the sound her dog makes when he's ready to come in. But it just seemed way too soon for him to be done being outside. So she decides to look through the peephole to make sure it really is her dog. But what she sees is terrifying. A deranged-looking man is right outside her door, staring intently at her door handle, waiting for it to turn open. As she's looking in horror, unable to do anything, he starts scratching at the door as hard as he can, never leaving his gaze from the door handle. She manages to stifle a scream, she backs away and realizes her dog is still outside. So she goes to the side window, but there's no sign of her dog, and so she goes back to the door to see if maybe the man's moved. He hasn't moved, his mouth is open, and he's staring directly at the peephole. Then he turns around and walks away. With the man gone, she discovers her dog unharmed, his leash had just been cut. But that means he had a knife.
Terrifying facts about the ocean. Let's get into it. So we've explored
Damn, we didn't even get the terrifying acts of the ocean, man. We've seen a couple of them, man, but I was really excited to see what he had to say, man. These videos were like, I had to find these part 2s for y'all, man. I know y'all I see in the comments, y'all be irked like me too, man, when they don't finish off the story. I gotta do a deep dive and find these part 2s for y'all, man, but we're gonna find them. That's crazy, man. There's some crazy facts today, man. Heard some crazy stories. You guys, if you guys made it with me to the end of the video, you're a true seeker. Once again, thank you guys for supporting the channel, for subscribing, hitting that post notification bell, man, hitting that like button, man. Like I said, when you guys do those simple steps, man, that pushes us in the algorithm, man, we can connect with other people, man. We're growing. I see the progress we're making with each and every video, so I'm thankful for you guys. Like I said, we're going to continue to grind. We're going to continue to get better with each and every video. I'm doing daily uploads for you guys. You guys can catch you in the next one. I'm out. Peace, YouTube. What's up, YouTube? Welcome back to my channel. How you guys doing? Hopefully you guys are doing alright, man. If you guys are brand new to my channel, you guys don't know what we do. We break down scary and creepy videos, man, on the net, on the web, from YouTube videos to TikTok videos, IG videos, Facebook, man. Anything weird, usual, and unexplained you can find right here on this channel. Just want to thank my supporters, man, who's tapping into the channel, subscribing, hitting that post notification bell, man, and hitting the like button on each and every video. You guys don't know how much you guys are helping out the channel just grow by just doing those 3 simple steps. I really appreciate it, man. Found this video for you guys today. Let's do what we do best, seekers, man. Let's seek the truth.
A lot of people were using bath salts as a drug to get high. Basically, the bath salt would make you hallucinate. So in 2009 in Miami, Florida, Rudy Eugene was apparently high on bath salts. He walked into a busy crowd, took off all his clothes, then walked over to where a homeless man was staying, Ronald Popo, 65 years old at the time, and started eating his face off. Yes, eating his face, his nose, his eyes, his mouth. He even tried taking off all his clothes. When witnesses saw what happened, they called police, and police got over 5 calls of this. When police showed up, they told Rudy to stop doing what he was doing, and apparently Rudy was growling at them. He said it was like he didn't understand what they were saying. And that went on for 18 minutes before they decided to shoot him dead. And look how this poor man turned out after. That's a horrible crime.
Imagine you break it.
Man, that's why I always stay away from stuff like that, seekers, man, because you take something like that, man, it can literally change you. It can literally turn you into a damn like demon, bro. So what he did to his face? And like they said, when the police came, niggas, like they said, he couldn't even understand what they were saying. He was just like all delirious or something. I'm just like, just stay away from that in general, seekers. It's my best advice to you guys. It's a crazy ass story.
Into your ex-lover's house and brutally murder his new wife in a fit of jealous rage. You also happen to be a young police officer at the time, and you stage the crime scene to look like a robbery, and that's just what police deem it at the time. And over the next 23 years, you work your way up the police department and become a detective that specializes in stolen art cases, which apparently the issue of stolen art rampant enough to require its own special unit. Now, over the span of time that you got on with your life and swept that murder under the rug, DNA testing got real good, and your Van Gogh sniffing ass is about to have that nice cushy lifestyle turned right the upside down. In 2009, police just decided, hey, let's test the bite mark left on Sherry Rasmussen's arm. The DNA came back as female. They were like, female burglars? That's not a thing. They decided to pursue the theory that the Rasmussens had suspected the whole time that Stephanie Lazarus was the killer. But the cops just went into the office, pulled a discarded cup out of the garbage that Stephanie was drinking. When they swabbed it, it was a perfect match. Stephanie's own colleagues brought her in for questioning, and that's where shit gets spicy. 23 years after Stephanie Lazarus murdered Sherry Rasmussen, the wife of a man that Stephanie used to date, she's brought in for questioning. Sherry and her husband John's families had long suspected that Stephanie was the killer, even though cops suspected it was a robbery. They had even told police that Stephanie would stalk John and Sherry and go by their house and even Sherry's place of work, telling Sherry that if she couldn't have John, then no one could. Police now had the DNA evidence to prove that Stephanie was the person who broke in, smashed a vase over Sherry's head, brutally beat her in the face with the butt of her gun, left a bite mark on her arm, and shot her 3 times. Police just went up to Stephanie in the office one day and were just like, hey, this will just take a second. We just want to talk to you about a stolen art case. They weren't there to talk about no art. They were like, hey, did you know somebody named John Rutten? What went down next is one of the most enjoyable dismantlings of someone's aura of invincibility that you could ever hope to see. And as they suck her back into that time period, the screws that held Stephanie's face in a normal-looking position for 23 years start to loosen. Best part is they tell her she's free to go, and she goes out into the hallway, and they handcuff her and arrest her right there. You have the right to remain silent. Do you understand?
Yes. Hi, I'm Cameron.
Goes to show you, man, whatever negative or energy or something you put out in the universe, you did something that bad and horrifying, you think you got away with it, it's gonna come around and get you, man. It might take a month, it could take a couple of days, it might take years, but at the end of the day, it's gonna come back, man. The thing is, like, she got away with that for that many years, bro, but she left so much evidence. And she was like one of the suspects, and they just didn't even care to look at her. She thought she was probably going to get away with it too. No, the energy you put out was going to come back.
This is romantic murder. May of 1999, a 14-year-old girl made her way to a Hong Kong police station. Officer, she was being haunted by the ghost of a woman who had been bound by electrical wire and tortured to death. They brushed her off until she explained that she had a hand in her murder. They followed her back to her flat and found this. Oversized Hello Kitty doll with the decapitated skull of a woman inside it. The head of Fan Man Yi. Fan's life was tragic before this event took place. After being abandoned by her family as a child, she was raised in a girls' home. She developed a drug addiction and was turning to prostitution to pay for her drug habit. In early 1997, Fan met Chen Man-lok, a 34-year-old pimp and drug dealer. Later in 1997, desperate for money and drugs, Fan Man Yi stole Man-lok's wallet and attempted to make off with $4,000. As soon as he saw it was gone, he had 2 other men kidnap her. Earning the money back wasn't enough for them. They began torturing her for over a month. Tied her up and beat her, burned her skin, raped her, and forced her to eat human feces. When she died, they cut up her body in a bathtub with a saw. The 14-year-old girl participated in the murder but was granted immunity for giving the details. The 3 were sentenced to life in prison with the possibility of parole.
She was that young and she participated in it? What does the world come to, man?
Hey guys, I'm back. So let me tell you in 60 seconds why these 2 chicks are serious sociopaths.
Okay.
On July 5th, 2012, Skyler Neese, 16-year-old girl, snuck out of her house. The next morning, her dad went into her room and realized she never came home. Skyler's best friend Sheila comes to the house and tells her parents they snuck out to smoke some weed, but she dropped her off shortly before midnight. She also says their friend Rachel was with them. She then helps her parents search the neighborhood. The entire community begins searching for Skyler. After 2 months, Skyler still isn't found and the FBI gets involved. And they start questioning her schoolmates and her friends. The friend Rachel, who was with them that night, has a panic attack. She goes to police and confesses everything. She tells police that she and Sheila had planned Skyler's murder for literally months.
Whoa.
They convinced her to sneak out that night, and then they stabbed her over 50 times. They had 0 remorse, and posted things like this on social. I mean, are you even serious?
In the case right there goes to show, man, how your friends, sometimes they truly aren't your friends, bro. You saw all the listening reasons. Like, they planned the whole thing and they so young, man. What is it up with these young people we keep seeing? It's like participating in these things. You have to be better, man. The whole world. That's insane.
The lie this woman told will make you sick.
Her name is Alicia Head, and she claimed to have been a survivor of the World Trade Center attack in 2001.
Come on,
she
man.
claimed she had narrowly survived the collapse of the South Tower, whilst her fiancé had perished in the North Tower. She would then go on to become president of the World Trade Center's Survivors Network Support Group. She would help get grants for other fellow survivors. But there was one big problem with all of this. Alicia was never at the World Trade Centers. She was exposed for having been at university in the native city of Barcelona. After being exposed, Alicia fled New York. For more 7 sins, remember to hit the plus button.
How did they even get that far?
True Swine, where I tell you how true crime has made me hate the cops even more. You don't need to know my name, it's not important, but you do need to know the name Jacob Wetterling. Jacob Wetterling went missing on October 22nd, 1989 when he was 11 years old. He and his friends were on the way to the store and they got approached by a man in a mask and he was abducted. The police didn't interview neighbors or witnesses for at least a few days afterwards, which is critical in a missing children's case. The children who were with Jacob when he went missing, their statements were discounted completely by the police because they were children. Instead of doing actual investigating, they spent the budget on mediums and psychics to see if they could find where Jacob was. His case garnered national coverage. His mom, Patty, and her activism is the reason why we have the sex offender registry as we know it. After harassing the man who owned the property where Jacob went missing for decades, this man came forward and admitted it. This predator's name is Danny James Heinrich. He had previous offenses against children in 87, 88, and in January of the same year that Jacob Wetterling went missing. The cops even had his DNA and he was a suspect in the Jacob Wetterling case, but he was written off for some reason. In 2016, he was arrested on child porn charges. As part of his plea bargain, he admitted murdering Jacob.
This fried chicken salesman almost caught one of the biggest serial killers in history by making a movie about him. This is the story of Tom Hansen, Zodiac Killer Hunter. In the early 1970s, the biggest story in the country was about how the Zodiac Killer, a hooded serial killer terrorizing the Bay Area in California, had murdered 5 confirmed victims. Despite the fact that the Zodiac had left several clues about his identity, police couldn't catch him. However, Tom Hansen, a businessman in San Francisco who owned several chains of fried chicken and pizza fast food restaurants, had an idea. The way he figured it, the Zodiac Killer was so full of himself that if somebody made a movie about him and did a fancy premiere for it, the real killer wouldn't be able to resist coming to the theater to see it. He planned to make the world's first movie about the Zodiac Killer so he could lure the real Zodiac Killer into a movie theater and then capture him. Hansen shot the movie in a couple of weeks in 1971 on a $13,000 budget. He couldn't get any studios to buy the film, so he paid to have the movie screened at the RKO Theater in San Francisco by himself. So did the plan work? And was the movie any good? There's still a lot more to the story, so like and follow for part 2.
Unsolved distract.
Wow. concerned citizen, man, actually was trying to do something, bro. I gotta figure out, we're gonna have to try to find a part 2 to see if that actually worked. Think about it, it was a good idea. I wonder if it actually like drew him out. He made a whole movie about it, and none of the studios want to pick it up, man. That's what good call trying to lure him out, and none of the studios did. He put the Thanos, fine, I'll do it myself. What the hell? Comment down below if you guys want me to find part 2 to that.
Australian crimes, this is about the Trump family, and strange doesn't even begin to describe this. Okay, so this is the Trump family, and on the 30th of August in 2016, police arrived at their home. No one was there, the doors were unlocked, one car was missing, all the other cars had the keys in the ignition. All their passports, phones and bank cards were still inside on the table with a pile of financial and business information. But by now the Trumps were hundreds of kilometers away. So Mark Trump, who was 51, Jacob Trump, who was 53, Rihanna Trump, who was 29, and Alla and Mitchell Trump, who were 22 and 25. And over the next 5 days, they were all located across New South Wales and Victoria. So for some reason, Mitch abandoned them all and started heading home. The two sisters stole a car and then went their separate ways. Then one sister snuck into the back of a truck and was found in a catatonic-like state. Jacob was found in Yass and admitted to hospital. Mark was found in Wangaratta. And to this day, nobody knows why they did it or what happened. Hey guys, so a few people similar comments about wanting a part 2 on theories about what happened to the Trump family. So I'm going to go through the most popular ones now. So there was a popular theory that because they owned a cherry farm, that people believed maybe the pesticides or chemicals they were using on the farm caused them all to fall mentally ill. Also widely believed that they shared a psychotic experience. There is a French name for the term, which I'm not sure how to pronounce, I'll put it up here, but refers to madness of two, which can sometimes happen in close-knit families or groups. That's another theory. There's another theory that it was a money hoax to make money from media deals. There's theories that there was no psychosis and that there was someone actually out to get the family. Some people believe it's also to do with aliens. I even read a theory about eating moldy bread, which can cause psychotic episodes. I think it was shared psychosis and not just the father. The sisters were acting strangely, so was the mother, so...
Hi, I'm Cam, this is...
The Trump family. That wasn't the family I was expecting. Like, you know, when we heard that name, the Trump family, used to go a whole completely different family. But look what happened to them. All those theories about what they all went different separate places. What theories do you guys believe, man? I guess I'm going with what he said, the psychosis. What happened to him? But the Trump family, though. That's really, really, like, odd and eerie, bro. You know.
This woman in murder. Emma Edwards was what seemed like a regular 14-year-old girl. She lived with her mother Elizabeth and younger sister Katie in Lincolnshire, England. Kim's mother hid Elizabeth during an argument, but immediately called social services on herself. Kim and her younger sister were taken away temporarily. However, after they returned, Kim and her mother's relationship began to dissolve further. Meanwhile, Elizabeth and Katie grew extremely close. Kim was very jealous of this. At one point, Kim left a suicide note. Elizabeth discovered it and brought her daughter to a psychiatrist so she could get the help she needed. The psychiatrist found no signs of mental illness. Things grew worse when Kim started dating Lucas Markham, who she met while he threw a desk across the room in a rage at school. Elizabeth banned her daughter from seeing him. Lucas's solution was to kill her mother. On April 13th, 2016 at midnight, Lucas walked into the Edwards home and stabbed Elizabeth in the neck. He suffocated her with a pillow while continuing to stab her to death. Kim had planned on killing her little sister as well, but panicked and couldn't do it, so she told Lucas to. He killed the 13-year-old Katie the same way he killed her mother. After the killings, the couple washed off, had sex, ate ice cream, and watched Twilight. Leeds broke in and said, "What's going on?" Lucas said, "Why don't you go and have a look?"
58% of convicted murderers are men, which, like, that. But then when you really think about it, it's like, why? Women have way more reason to murder. Most people would say, well, it's just because men are more murdery. But I think something else is going on. I think women are murdering all over the ding-dang place, but we're just not getting caught, because we're better at it, like we are mostly. First of all, bitches are stealthy. We're hiding blood all the time anyway. Because of our periods. Second of all, no one suspects us. Who? Me? I'm too busy doing my makeup and being confused by math to do a murder. Can we just make it look like a cute little accident, and then we plan a gorgeous wig, and then we move on with our lives, and we look fabulous doing it? Okay then, Caitlin, so if women are doing all these murders, where are all these missing dead men? You think they're missed? That's hilarious. They're not.
This is one of the...
Whoa. Well, she just put on my mind, man. It's starting to make me question, like, who gets away with it more, do you guys think? Man or woman when it comes to, I guess, things of that nature? She said women do because they more smarter and not trying to get caught by doing things like that. That's something to think about, man. Something to leave your mind to ponder about.
The UK's oldest unsolved murders. In 1866, in Perthshire, Scotland, 55-year-old Janet Rogers was found dead. In March 1866, Janet Rogers came to her brother's house on Mount Stewart Farm. She was there to help her brother William while he looked for a new housemaid. 3 days later, Mr. Henderson found his sister dead on the floor of his farmhouse kitchen. She had been clubbed to death with an axe. The police put out a £100 reward to find the killer. That's almost £12,000 in today's currency. This worked at attracting publicity to the case, but it may have hindered police efforts as floods of reports came in. The police eventually charged the previous ploughman of the farm, James Crichton, with Mrs. Rogers' murder. However, after a 2-day trial, the jury returned with a verdict of not proven, which basically means there wasn't enough evidence. The murder had a lasting effect on Janet's brother William. Descending into insanity, he was committed to a mental asylum where he spent the rest of his days.
Crazy, man. The case affected them that much, man. That different people, man, to go through different experiences, it forever changes them. Look what happened at the end result. Really, like, it broke his mind. As I said, people don't know how much, like, another person's actions could affect a whole person's, like, trajectory of life. Something to think about, seekers. That's it for this video for you guys today, man. If you guys stay with me to the end of the video, you're a true seeker seeking the truth. I greatly appreciate the support, man. Like I said, guys, make sure you guys hit this like button, man. Subscribe, hit that post notification bell, man. Like I said, guys, we're growing our community of seekers, man. I truly believe we can go to something big, but I just need you guys' help. Just follow those 3 simple steps. Also, don't forget to follow me on my social medias down below, so we always stay connected as a community. Guys, gonna catch you in the next one, man. We're grinding. I'm out. Peace, YouTube. What's up, YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. How you guys doing? Hopefully you guys are doing all right, man. If you guys are brand new to the channel, what we do is, man, we break down scary and creepy videos on the net, on the web, from YouTube videos to TikTok videos, IG reels, Facebook, anything weird, usual, and unexplained you can find right here on this channel. Just want to thank my supporters, man, who's tapping into the channel, subscribing, hitting that like button, man, on each and every single video, and also hitting that post notification bell, man. You guys are help pushing us into this algorithm, man. Like I said, one day, man, we're gonna just grow and just explode and take off, but each and every like, it pushes us even more. So thank you, guys. Found this video for you guys today. Let's do what we do best, man. Let's seek the truth.
Usual places in the world. Located in Quebec, Canada, this forest has a pretty creepy atmosphere. It might be because the ground looks like it's moving, making it seem like Mother Earth is taking a deep breath. This next one is actually terrifying. Located in Penang, Malaysia, this huge water tornado was getting extremely close to this apartment building. Fortunately, it stopped right in front of the building because it ran out of water. And how about this one? It used to be a hiking area before it got flooded, so everything you see here used to be above water. Imagine being a fish and seeing this appear out of nowhere.
Here are some experiments that went horribly wrong. In 1983, a man volunteered to be a test subject for a groundbreaking experiment. Scientists disconnected every sensory nerve from the man's brain to see if he could sense God's presence. The man could no longer feel, hear, see, or smell anything after this was done, and the experiment started. He started reporting that he could hear voices of the dead and gave details that he couldn't have ever known. He then said that he could see the entities, to which he started clawing at his own eyes. He eventually went insane and started biting chunks of his own flesh off. The last words the man spoke before his death were, "I have spoken with God, and he has abandoned us." It is uncertain if this was real or fake, but it is sure to send shivers up your spine.
What do you guys think about that story, seekers? Fact or cap?
Things you should never Google. Lemon party. Harlequin fetus. Blue waffle. Dead lover. Facts that will blow your mind.
Take their word for it.
Humans are the only animals that enjoy spicy foods.
Really?
Potato chips cause more weight gain than any other food. It's impossible to hum while you hold your nose. The least interesting day in history was April 11th, 1954. Aldous Huxley and C.S. Lewis died on the same day as JFK. Bigger forks lead you to eat less. The longest living insect is the termite. Chewing gum after a meal reduces heartburn. Dogs can smell cancer. Bees can detect bombs. Follow and comment below which fact blew your mind.
For me, it would have to be the two last ones, man. Dog can smell cancer and bees can detect bombs. We need to be training these bees then, bro. Have our own me unit. Sniffing on bombs, man. I had no idea they can do that. What the? The more you know, man. And about the fact about dogs, I kind of heard that before, like how a dog can kind of tell how you're sick before, like even the doctors can pick up on it, or even you can pick up on it. Like they just know. They can just sniff that out. The more you know, man. Crazy facts.
This is the Backrooms Explained. The Backrooms are alleged to be an alternate terrifying dimension that people end up in when they glitch out of reality. Upon glitching into the Backrooms, you will find 600 million square miles of randomly segmented empty rooms that literally go on forever. Nothing but the stink of moist carpet, the madness of the color mono yellow, and the endless background noise of fluorescent lights at maximum hum buzz. And if you hear something moving, you better run because the chances are they heard you too. In order to escape, it is said you have to complete a series of levels, which test you to an impossible standard. Which is why if you ever enter the Backrooms, you're most likely never getting out.
The Backrooms, bro. You know there's a lot of TikToks on the Backrooms. That could really break it down. He did it good too. They even making a game about the Backrooms recently too. See, because you know how you can call it
This 71-year-old man reportedly hasn't left his house for the last 55 years because he is terrified of women. According to a short film by Aframax, Calixte Zamweta barricaded himself inside what's become a wooden fortress at just 16 years old. And this is all because he never wanted to talk to or see a woman ever again. They say that he suffers from a type of anxiety disorder called genophobia, which is the fear of women. Experts say that you can develop this phobia through experiencing a traumatic event, or be predisposed to it through your genetics. But whatever's got him shook must be pretty damn powerful, because the small hut he's been willingly trapped in for the last 55 years only has one bedroom, meaning he sleeps, cooks, cleans, and even relieves himself all in one place. But even though he's terrified of women and does everything in his power to keep them out, they are the ones keeping him alive. The video claims that the women of his village are the ones who bring him food and other essential items that he needs to survive. They do this by tossing the items over the fence, and when they leave, he'll cautiously come out, collect them, and then quickly go back inside. The question is, how rare do we think genophobia really is?
That's the first time I even heard about something like that. You can actually have something that makes you scared of women. Maybe more people got that, man, and they just don't know that they have it. The hell? But it's kind of ironic, though. Like, the women are the one that's helping keeping him alive there because they give him food and supplies. But yet, he's scared of them. And then for 30 years in that small hut.
The most sick and twisted slasher we've ever seen. A lot of you guys seem to think that the bedroom scene from Terrifier 2 is not that crazy, and I genuinely think that there's something wrong here. That scene is genuinely one of the most insane scenes I've ever seen in a horror movie. We don't see things like that coming from Jason. We also don't see things like that coming from Michael, especially with the lead up of Terrifier 3. As we know, I'm pretty sure this kid is getting packed up. And with the fact that Art the Clown is dressed up as Santa Claus for most of the movie, meaning he's going to be decorating some trees. Now, going over a couple OGs from the slasher scene, of course you have Freddy Krueger, the Nightmare Demon. For anybody who doesn't think Freddy's a slasher, his nickname is the Springwood Slasher. But he's really about it. The only thing Freddy's ever done that's comparable to anything that Art the Clown has done, from that, I think it's part 2, maybe it's part 1, where the kid literally gets sucked up through the bed. That was pretty up there. You then of course have my boy Ghostface, but he hasn't done anything absolutely crazy like that. You then have Michael, started a ton of controversy in my last video. Needless to say, we've never seen an unaliving as brutal as the Art the Clown bedroom scene. And then you throw Leatherface in there. Still, once again, yes, he's a cannibal, but hasn't really done anything on the scale as Art. But yes, to answer my own question, I do think Art the Clown is the most sick and twisted slasher we've ever seen. What do you think?
Scary fun facts until the Orbeez overflow.
There are microscopic mites that live in your eyelashes. Being buried alive happens so often on accident that they've now invented safety coffins. In the 1800s, dentures were made with real teeth from the deceased. Radio station UVB76 has been broadcasting since 1982. All it does is make creepy noises and nobody knows where it's broadcasting from. Chainsaws were originally invented for childbirth. The final part of Mount Everest that you have to climb is known as Rainbow Valley. They call it that because all you see is all the different colored jackets from the frozen hikers. And it looks like I'm out of time. Follow for more fun facts.
Damn, Rainbow Valley? Looks like a lot of people
I
didn't
really
make
hate
it.
any animal. Every animal has a purpose except this. I hate this bird. I hate everything it stands for. If Abby had an Antarctic Antichrist in its cast, that movie would have been a snuff film. This is a giant petrel, but if you're a sailor, you probably know it by its street name, the Stinker. Does this satanic seagull on steroids is a meal plan of rotting, decaying, disease-ridden foulness I can't even imagine. Or maybe I just don't want to. And like an air-conditioned vulture, they have the same table manners, meaning they'll pull up to a corpse and start eating it from the softest point. So if you ever peep this flying coffin and red face, no, it just got done tossing an expired elephant seal salad, which makes their choice in self-defense somehow more offensive. Press a petrol or its kid, and it'll projectile vomit vile-smelling, corrosive stomach oils right to the face. Oils that are so acidic, they can actually strip the waterproof coating off other birds' feathers. You know, I said vultures? That's not fair. At least vultures usually wait for you to die. Petrels do no such favors. Pain and paralysis demon will snatch up miners like Dan Schneider and rip them open alive. And remember, the Stinker will pull organs right out the poop chute. The freeze-dried booty bandit has been known to drown other birds like the Australian gannet. You wanna know what this predatory prostate exam is? This is if hyenas had wings. And don't think they just go after chicks. If they find an injured penguin, they will personally speedrun the process. Well, actually not speed, because again, the anal undertaker don't wait for you to pass tense. It's like the booty warrior from Boondocks came back as a bird. Blight to the animal kingdom with a negative rice purity score with a wingspan that can reach a shack. Alright, I'm done. They're not that bad. I just don't like the way they sound.
That's crazy. He said they the booty warriors, bro. Of birds, man. It's insane.
The most disturbing videos in the world. This picture contains a list of disturbing videos from least scary to the most. This will be my scariest series ever. Starting with tier 1, we're going to take a look at a couple of them. The first one is the creepy Japanese McDonald's commercial. Before you watch this, the idea of this commercial was that hunger watches you at night. The second one we're going to take a look at is Dining Room or There Is Nothing. Just take a look at it. This was just tier 1. Tomorrow's video for tier 2 is where things start getting crazy. Make sure to like and follow for tomorrow's video for tier 2.
I'm gonna be watching you at night when you...
Blood-curdling facts that you wish you never knew. Part 21. This photo shows an 8-month-old Zhao Bao who is lucky to be alive because his mother stabbed him 90 times after he bit her while she was breastfeeding him. The world's scariest haunted house, McKinley Manor, requires you to sign a 40-page waiver and undergo a physical and mental evaluation. If you manage to make it through the house, you could win $20,000. But to this day, no one has ever made it through. The little girl who voiced Ducky in The Land Before Time was shot to death by her father, who then committed suicide. Roman Emperor Nero had a boy castrated, dressed him up as a bride, and married him, all because the boy looked similar to his previous dead wife. A 46-year-old man found and attacked a 13-year-old boy because the kid was killing him too many times in a game of Call of Duty.
What was the Russian sleep experiment is where they took 5 prisoners of war and kept them captive in a room for 30 days without sleep. The whole goal of this whole experiment was to see what would happen to the human body and mind without sleeping for 30 days. days. Kind of like a sleep deprivation experiment. And I'm gonna be honest, the way they were keeping them awake was absolutely insane. Not only having oxygen constantly pumped throughout that room, kind of like a casino, because obviously there was no windows because they didn't want them to know what time of day it was. Sort of, as I said, like a casino where they pump oxygen in, you have no idea what time it is, and you kind of always feel awake. But the other way they were keeping them awake was by pinning them with amphetamines to ensure them staying awake. Now obviously the experiment did not go as planned, with some of them just being unalive just due to the fact of being up for too long. Others screaming so loud that their vocal cords actually ripped out, causing them to be unalive. Now back in 2018, we were supposed to be getting a full feature-length film, a real adaptation of this creepypasta into a movie. Now there are some pretty good short films on YouTube depicting this whole entire story, but we were supposed to get a feature-length film a couple years ago. Now obviously this is a creepypasta, so comment down below what creepypasta I should cover next.
Damn, a fully feature film? What happened to it? Why did it like stop production? Why did it get canceled? They want us to see, I guess, the true extent of the experiment? That's my guess. Those creepypastas, man. Some weird backstories.
The devil works hard, Drake's PR works harder, but no one on earth does more than a horny male bird. One thing about ladybirds, they will make their guy work for it. Standards will make the average man have a heart attack. A bowerbird will spend days, weeks, sometimes months of his life building and decorating a bower, all in the name of female validation. They don't just build it either, they'll color code it too. They'll even people rival with a bigger bower and level the entire thing out of pure spite. That's not normal petty. Nah, that's advanced. Adelie penguins, yeah, remember them? They nest with rocks, so if a guy penguin wants to commit, he doesn't do it with a ring, but he does it with a stone, no diamond. But penguin politics means the guy can get cheated on by his girl, basically selling her body to someone else for a rock. Yeah, it's exactly what it sounds like. The world's oldest profession is older than you think. But also the opposite can happen, where a female flirts with a guy, gets his hopes up, and right when bro think he finna catch cloaca, she steals a rock out of his nest and then runs home to her actual mate. Imagine buying a girl a drink and she gonna get up and hand it to her husband. Like, you know what, I respect it. Bald eagles will do this thing where they lock talons in the air and kind of just death spiral back to earth. To them it's a ritual or just really risky foreplay. Apparently it's a test to evaluate whether this eagle's fit to be a mate. To be fair, they mate for life, so they kind of have to get it right. But they look real stupid when they hold on too long and end up bird smacking the ground together, effectively taking each other off the dating pool, permanently. Albatrosses have a very specific synchronized dance they do to reinforce their bond, and it's not just any dance, it's a ritual with certain steps and moves they have to get right. Crazy part is, some albatrosses don't get active till they're 10. They'll really spend years of their life perfecting a dance just to get a chance. The more you know.
It is criminal that more people don't know about this. A group of teenagers in Africa have just created the world's first hour-long superhero movie that's recorded on a phone and entirely edited on CapCut.
Whoa.
What you are seeing right now took a staggering 2 months to edit. They call themselves the African Cinematic Universe. The filming process took about 7 days and was all shot on a borrowed iPhone 10. All of the editing, including the VFX, the sound effects, was all done on CapCut using a Samsung 7S Edge and an Amazon Fire tablet. As if this needed to be any harder, but they did this all without any food or water. And no, comments, it's not because they were in Africa, it was because it was the month of Ramadan. And the ultimate fear around all of this is that their phone would crash during the export process and they would lose all of their work. So they overcame this by cutting and exporting the movie in 13 to 16 minute segments. And then by a stroke of luck, someone who saw the trailer donated them a PC so that they could put them all together and export the full hour. They even had a premiere for its release. Man, if they get their hands on some real editing equipment, Hollywood is cooked. This movie deserves way more attention. So please, for all of their hard work, let's show them some love. This is the scary story about...
It's crazy, the African Cinematic Universe, the ACU. Hey man, you know, people might turn into that, bro, because you know how the MCU's going right now. It's not hot right now, but that's actually insane that they made a whole movie on a phone. Goes to show you, man. If you work with what you got, you can make something special.
About the woman in the night. A young man moved into an apartment building. The first night he slept in his new apartment, he was woke up by somebody knocking on the door at 1 o'clock in the morning. He got up and opened the door, and standing there was a young woman. She apologized for waking him up and told him that she was his neighbor. She said her husband was beating her and asked if she could spend the night on the sofa. The man felt bad and let her stay the night even though it seemed strange. The next morning, he checked the living room and discovered that the woman was already gone. He assumed that her husband and her made up. But that night, at the same time as before, the same girl was knocking on the door. The man opened it and she said her husband had beaten her up again and wondered if she could spend the night on the sofa again. He said yes, and the next morning when he got up, the woman was gone again. The man grew suspicious and asked his landlord about the strange neighbor. The landlord's face grew pale and said nobody lives in that apartment. He said a woman who lived there died 1 year ago after being beaten to death by her husband.
What? So was it all in his mind? Or just imagining things? The hell? The woman in that scary apartment. Definitely gonna have to dive deep into that one.
You'll never look at a mall Santa the same way after hearing this story. So this photo was taken around 1920 in a Christmas fair happening outside of Boston. The young child in this photo is Alberta Porter, the daughter of Robert Porter, who was supposed to be Boston's next mayor. Apparently, this Santa had set up around the corner from the rest of the fair and was not visible from the rest of the fair. Robert and his daughter actually didn't even see the Santa until they were walking home. The line to see Santa inside of the fair was way too long, so when Alberta saw this Santa, she started crying and begging her dad to take a photo with him. So this photo was taken, and afterwards, the Santa asked if Alberta wanted to go on a short ride on the donkey. And she starts crying and begging her father again, so he agrees. But Alberta never returned. An hour went by and Santa still hadn't brought her back. Robert ran into the fair to ask an employee how long the donkey rides typically last, but the employee seemed really confused. There was no Santa with donkey rides at this fair. The employee pointed to the Santa who had a long line of children out in front of him and said that was the only Santa at the fair. Alberta was never found, and Robert actually dropped out of politics to spend his entire life and savings on finding her and the man who took her, and never did.
Man. Be careful, bro. These are weird people out here pretending to be Santa.
Michael Myers, Jason Voorhees, and the new age slasher Art the Clown. It's this one thing. Gen slashers always hold true to this, because they're not threats. But will Art the Clown see it that way? I don't know, because from what I've been told, the first couple minutes of Terrifier 3 are said to be some of the most disgusting, disturbing, and shocking things we've ever seen. And that's saying a lot, because Terrifier 2 was absolutely insane, especially the bedroom scene. People were literally running out of the theaters and throwing up when they first saw Terrifier 2. And if the first couple minutes of Terrifier 3 are said to be some of the most shocking and disturbing things we've seen from Art, what does that mean for this little person? What's going to happen? Because from the countless set photos we've seen, Art the Clown is dressed up as Santa Claus and going to the mall. Meaning he's going to have a ton of people around him sitting on his lap and telling him what he wants for Christmas. Now, we already know what Art the Clown wants for Christmas. He wants to decorate with people. Now, I've been getting a lot of questions and tagged in this video. Do I think Art the Clown is genuinely going to pack this kid up? I don't know. I don't think Damien Leone is going to go that far, but if it's been said that this movie is going to be 10 times shocking, especially the first 5 minutes, and we've already seen the 2-minute clip where Buddy's going crazy downstairs, I really don't know if I would put it past Art the Clown for him to do this. I just kind of hope not.
These are some extremely unsettling facts, and I found all of these on Reddit. The Conjuring is one of the most influential horror movies of all time and actually helped pave the way for a lot of other movies that were to come along in the future. But there was a lot of dark stuff that went on behind the scenes. After they had finished their first day of filming, actress Vera Farmiga had noticed something very off. She had 3 very large claw marks on her body, much larger than any human could have possibly done. And when she was asked about it, she said, "There's no way that I could have left this and not known." And this further adds on to the urban legend of this movie actually being cursed. The Texas Chainsaw Massacre is one of the best known horror movies ever, but there's so much more behind this movie that I didn't tell you. Like the fact that the farm that this movie was filmed on actually had around 500 animal corpses underneath it. And where there's corpses, there's going to be a stench. And it got to be so unbearable that it got to the point that whenever the director would yell cut between takes, whether it was an actor, whether it was someone that was working on the crew, would have to sprint off screen and go vomit. And finally, this is one place on Earth you cannot visit. But before I get into that, you guys, I delve into a lot of darker things, so if you want something a little more positive, make sure you go peep my bio. You won't regret it. North Sentinel Island is an island off the coast of India. This place is widely known as one of the places on Earth you cannot visit. This is because the Northern Sentinelese people who live there have become very aggressive to all visitors. They've also had very, very, very limited contact with modern civilization as we know it. Even when boats are going by, these people are known to throw spears and shoot bows and arrows at them. But there's a reason behind this. The people of the Northern Sentinel Island were brutalized and abused by colonizers years ago, and this caused them to be very shut off from the rest of the world and be very aggressive towards visitors. And if we're being real, if that happened to you, you would do the same thing. And look, I know these are pretty dark even for me, but that's why.
You know, what he said in the last pack is facts, though. They got treated like that, man, by the outside world. Now they treat everybody as hostile. I think I've heard a couple of stories about that too, man. About, you know, people trying to go to, like, islands where they have civilizations, try to talk to them, but doesn't end well because of what happened, I guess, years before, generations ago. Crazy to think about seekers, man. Crazy. You guys, that's it, man, for this video for you guys today, man. If you guys made it with me to the end of the video, you're a true seeker seeking the truth. I greatly appreciate the support, man. Like I said, guys, make sure you guys subscribe, hit that post notification bell, also hit that like button, man, on each and every video I drop, man. Like I said, so we can get this algorithm, we could just tick off, man. We're getting there, video by video. Like I said, it's gonna take time just to build up, but when we tick off, you're gonna want to join me in my journey. I'm out. Peace, YouTube.